Can't say I didn't warn you about the police. I'm sorry, but there's nothing more we can do for you now.
Parlez-vous français? This is a French game we're talking about today on the FMV archive. L'Affaire Morlov. Yes, this was a game created in 1996 for the Philips CDI. We are on a CDI kick and we're going to continue that for a little bit. This game also had a very small PC release and it is almost impossible to find now in its actual physical form. If you want a copy of it, you got to be ready to shell out over $300 for this one. It is a French game, but it does have English subtitles in this. You can play in both languages. But should you be playing a 30-year-old game that has 4 separate screens on the screen at one time? Let's find out by diving deep into the first part of our process of figuring out if this is a game worth playing with the story. You are Paul Kiern, I believe. I don't think they actually ever say your name in the game, but it's in the manual there. Your fiancée has been captured. She has been kidnapped. It's not really adult napped, I guess. And you've also been implicated into a murder. Why? Because you were standing there when the person was murdered. They took a picture of you, gave it to the police, and now you're the #1 suspect in a murder and a kidnapping. This game is a real-time game, so you have 48 hours to clear your name and find your fiancée. This is a story that we've seen a million times before. Someone wrongly accused needs to clear their name and save the person. There's a lot of things in here that just get no explanation whatsoever and just kind of happen. That said, they do try to put some interesting story elements. The CIA gets involved. It's not that great. Story overall is a 4. Number 2, the gameplay. This takes a lot to get used to. In any review you'll find of this game when it came out in 1996, it has a very clunky game mechanic. There are 4 kind of screens on there, 2 screens, your inventory, and the menu is all up in front of you all at one time. It is very gargled and not quite easy to follow until you get a hang of it. One of the screens is FMV and one of the screens is what you actually interact with. You have to right click to get something from your inventory and then use it, although whatever is on the screen is like this big and almost impossible to find. Even when you're looking for keyholes, it's not easy to find this stuff, even when you know what you want to do. This is a timestamp game. There's a little clock at the bottom. You can fast forward it. You're really never going to be pressed for time, but if you miss things in the time when you have to get it done, you get one shot at it. You got to take a picture of this guy exactly at 3 p.m. If you're there at 3 p.m. and he walks on the screen, he's not on the screen very long. If you miss that picture, boom, done. You can't do anything else. So you got to save a lot on this game and be confident with your saves. I had about 7 different game files when I was playing this game so I could go back and forth and make sure I wasn't at a point where I would get stuck and not be able to beat the game. Also, some of the clues are totally weird and don't make sense. Like, why would I give the friend of my girlfriend her ID? And then her friend would know, oh yeah, I should give you a key to her car because you showed me her ID. Things like that make very little sense. Gameplay is not great. We're going to give it a 2 overall. Number 3, the look and the graphics. The FMV is not well lit. The FMV is nonsensical. I'm walking up a flight of stairs. If we have such little space on this disc, I should be using on the dialogue with the characters, not a 30-second stair climb. That is stupid. Elevator rides. Why are elevator rides in FMV? And they don't look great on top of that. The CGI is okay. It's passable. Most of the background is CGI. They don't have actual real sets in this. This is 3 years after Spycraft, 1 year before X-Files, which I think is a really good looking game with a lot of FMV, and it looks pretty darn bad. It's no excuse for this one. The look is a 5 overall. I think I might be pushing it there. The menu is really easy and clean to use, and the inventory is pretty easy to see in what you have. Number 4, the dialogue. Often it's not there. You just walk around and don't talk whatsoever in places where you should be talking. It's just absolute silence. It's you getting handcuffed. You're not saying, oh, I didn't do it. It's just, yeah, no, I'll just get handcuffed. When it is there, it's pretty bad. Okay, the dialogue is very minimal and it's like feels like very forced. I get it's being translated, so I'm probably losing something in the translation, but it's not very good. I think the dialogue is one of the weakest parts of this game. It's a 1 overall. Number 5, consequences of your decisions. You can kind of go wherever the heck you want to go in this game. It is an open world game. You can go anywhere you want, whenever you want, but it is really linear in the things that you need to do. You have to find certain clues to get to different spots in the game, and some of the clues are really bad. Like, you're looking at grave markers. What you do, get a clue in her notepad, your Irina's notepad, and it says, okay, here's the markers you need to look at in this cemetery. I look at all those markers and it gives me different dates, and it's kind of obvious the dates that I want on there. But how do I know to add all those up and then that's the key code to get into her safe? That one is a little tricky there. There's some things where you need to make a leap in what you need to do to figure out these consequences. So It's laid out, but really poorly laid out. The timing on this is bad because if you miss stuff, it is brutal to you. You need those things and you just get stuck in the game and you can't go any further. Consequences are brutal, not laid out, not mapped out very well on what you should do, and it is fairly linear even though it is an open world thing. 1 overall for the consequences. Number 6, the acting. It's very weird because there's a real lack of back and forth conversation with anybody in this game. I think the main character, does he speak? Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. If he does, it's a handful of lines. People are talking to him and he kind of never responds to it. So the acting is very odd. It's not Gotho's bad, but it is pretty darn bad. It is very forced and odd, and it looks like they are, delivering lines to a camera and not someone across from them because they're just completely emotionless when they're giving these lines. The acting is bad. It's a 2 overall. Direction, cinematography, one of the worst parts of this game. The FMV is in there. It's just totally nonsensical. Why are you showing me walking up a flight of stairs? Why not instead show me the conversation or show me thinking about and talking about how I solve these puzzles that are in the game? There's none of that. There's no inner monologue. You would think with something like this, they'd give you a little noir feeling with an inner monologue with the guy talking. None of that whatsoever. Your character is just kind of a foil to have things happen against, and he really has no personality and no reason other than that it's his girlfriend, that is her fiance that has been captured. It's really bad. The acting is poor. The CGI is poor. Everything that the director could have touched and put his hands or her hands on is not good, and it looks pretty cheap. Direction, cinematography, it isn't laughably bad, but it is pretty poor. I would give it 2 overall. Number 8, the music and the sound design. The theme music is actually really good with this. It kind of fits the mystery sequence very well. I think it is really good in that sense, but it is really repetitive. It is just kind of the same track over and over and over and over and over and over again. The sound that they do incorporate in the game, that is pretty good. The voices are always clear. That's good. And again, since the acting is not great and we are getting voiceovers, it should be good. So that is not a bad part of the game. But overall, the music and the sound design, it's not the best I've ever seen, not the worst I've ever seen. It's a 6 overall, kind of split it down the middle. Number 9, the inventiveness. What is new on this? The layout of the game is something very new and different. You are kind of interacting with one part of the game and watching the FMV on another screen in the game, but your inventory is always there, so you always kind of know what you have. Tools at your disposal, even though those tools might not make much sense to use. One of the parts of it is you need to use your knife to open up a lock on the door. I've been using keys the entire game. Why would I use a knife all of a sudden? It's really weird gameplay, which is inventive. Maybe they were trying to go for something totally new here, or maybe it's just people that weren't into video games that much and just kind of threw it together. Overall, it is a one-of-a-kind experience in playing an FMV game, even though there's nothing completely new in terms of the gameplay for it. The layout and how you actually do things is very odd, so we'll give it a 7 overall for inventiveness. Our most important category, 10. How much fun is this game? It is not very much fun. The idea of this game is a whole lot better than the execution. They had good elements here, but couldn't put them together. Unique gameplay, but it's a little bit clunky. FMV, but we really have no talking and discussion in there, so why do I even have the full motion video? I could just be a point-and-click adventure, and I'm getting almost all the exact same things out of it. The last scene is completely lame. There's 3 doors to pick from. There are no clues on which door I should be picking. I pick the wrong door, I die. Why is that there? I know where my girlfriend is. It's the last scene. There's no big conclusion after it. Save those kilobytes on that CD and maybe make the last scene a little bit more memorable. It's very lame. It's not a terrible game, but it is not a good one either. We'll give it a 3 overall for fun. Our final score is a 32. But what is our final verdict? Should you be hunting this down on an abandonware site and downloading this and playing it on your PC? If you are absolutely an FMV completist, I would say go for it because it's a pretty short game. There are some walkthroughs you can find out there if you don't want to kind of go for it at yourself, which you may want to use because some of the things in here make absolutely no sense why you would do them. The game is this close to being good, it's just not executed very well. But we think we executed this video very well, and if you think we have, please hit subscribe, please hit like. All we do is FMV stuff. If you think FMV is cool, or if you've ever played an FMV game that you like, very good chance that we've reviewed it here or are going to review it. That is all we do. We review FMV games, we provide walkthroughs for them, we provide playthroughs and everything in between. We even interview developers. So if you want to get really into the FMV universe, this is your place. Thank you. Have a good one.